holidays, man. How the Most High is not dealing with us in these holidays. Our God, Jesus Christ, how he's against these holidays, man. And we out here to tell you this and to show you in the Bible and through history, man. So we not just out here with the Bible, we out here with the history of it too. Because we're going to deal with the cause and effect. That's what we out here to share with you, the cause and effect, man. You got what you at? All right, keep going.
With garrison established in Puerto Rico, 1508, Jamaica, 1509, and Cuba, 1550.
Oh, read that again. Because we're going to see, like we said, how these people got set up in these lands. Read that with garrison. Read that right there, nice and loud.
With garrisons established in Puerto Rico, 1508, Jamaica, 1509, and Cuba, 1550. To add to their first secure base in Hispaniola, the Spanish control all the large islands of the Caribbean. The region becomes a springboard from which Mexico and Central America are conquered in the 1520s.
Take one more.
During the 16th century, private vessels from other European nations, and particularly England, prey on rich Spanish fleets in these waters.
Now you're going to get into the wars that start happening with England and Spain. This is the wars start going on because they realized these people was going over there getting rich off of God's people. They started warring. That's why Paul tell you in Romans, by the fall of Israel, the riches have came to the Gentiles. By us not going by what the Most High say, the riches come to the Gentiles. This is why they started fighting over who was going to control God's people, man. This whole thing, that's all it been since the 1400s, man. Who was going to control God's people? That's why everything in the society comes off the poor's back. And when you look at who's the poor, it's the Negroes, the Jamaicans, the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, man. The Haitians. The same thing, the same people that they ran down on us are still the same people that's poor today. This is the history on Christopher Columbus Day, man. We just out here sharing the history, man. Through the history in the Bible. We not biased. We just telling you how it is. And the mic is open. If somebody say we saying something that's not right, or think we off, or we got some wrong doctrine, please come up and correct us. Because the scriptures are made to give correction and approval. So that's what we're here for. Alright? Keep going.
Okay.
The island themselves remain an exclusive Spanish preserve, but they are too numerous for the Spaniards to control them all. During the 17th century, the English and the French settled on islands.
You're welcome.
Paper chase.
Excuse us. No, Satan, the principalities of the air. So don't get it twisted. That's why we putting this stuff out here, bringing it to the people, so people would know. That's why we out here, man. You don't hear this stuff. You don't hear nobody going through the history of this, man. They don't even give you this in school. You don't even get this. You don't even get the gut of the history in school. They just give you the ice on the top and let you go when he discovered America. They don't even go with all that. They don't even go what happened to the people when they discovered the islands. They don't even go with all that, man. They don't even go until he bought 17 ships filled with 1,500 men. And when we go into the history of the Puerto Rican, you'll see that the men he got were straight mercenaries, man. But straight thugs in that time, mercenary killers, man. He brought mercenary killers with him, man. When we go into the history of the Spanish, you will see that it tell you he brought mercenaries, man. Men for hire, man. Straight killers he brought to these lands, man. This is what he brought to these lands to set up. Because you got to be a ruthless person just to go somewhere and just start masking. They didn't bring no women with them. When they talk about them shit, the 1,500 people, they brought no women. So they went there with one thing on their mind. To kill the men and to sleep with the women. This is the history of Christopher Columbus, man. This is the Monday that's coming. This is his history. He brought 1,500 men with him in 17 ships and had no women. Did you know they teach you that in school about history of Christopher Columbus?
Yeah, well.
You learn anything about, what you learn in school? Come here for a minute, what you learn in school? Tell me what you learn in school about Christopher Columbus, man. We out here preaching the Bible, going through some history. What you learn in school about Christopher Columbus? You don't remember? That was in 6th grade? What they tell you? You gotta remember something. Come on, that's only 3 years ago, man. Come on, man, you don't remember nothing either? Well, you should stick around and hear. Matter of fact, give him a DVD real quick. Take one of these DVDs. Give them the history. Give them the history DVD. Give them both one. Christopher Columbus, man. Read that part again where you at. No, matter of fact, no, just keep going. I'm sorry. I'm going to go all the way back somewhere else. I'm sorry. We're going through the history of Christopher Columbus. What happened to these so-called people when he discovered these new lands? How he brought a ship, 17 ships with 1,500 men. No women. So they didn't come there with their families to set up. They didn't bring their families to come set up to be equal, to live with the people in harmony. They came 1,500 men to destroy the men and manhandle the women. That's what happened, man. So when you celebrate Christopher Columbus Day when we off, just think about what happened to these people, man. Keep going.
The first English settlement on any island in the West Atlantic is a result of an accident. Castaways from an English vessel wrecked on its way to Virginia in 1609 find safety on Bermuda. When news of the island reaches England, a party of 60 settlers is sent out in 1612. 3 decades later, religious friction in the Bermuda community causes a group of dissenters to seek a place of their own. From 1648, they settle in the Bahamas, a chain of uninhabited islands forming the fringe of the northern Caribbean. This is where Columbus made his first landfall in 1492.
And we know what Columbus discovered it what the Indians did, the Tawaco Indians. So it wasn't like they discovered another land nobody did. We already know these lands was fertile. We already know they already had people there. Keep going.
In the intervening half century, the Spanish have shipped the natives, some 40,000 Arawak Indians, to work in the mines of Hispaniola.
Hold up, slavery. Read that again. This is the history. So Christopher Columbus Day, 1492. The history of Christopher Columbus. Read that part with what happened to the Tawaco Indians, man. That was there. And we know that the word Indian only means savage. They was calling them savage. Let's see what happened. So read that part again.
There was 40,000 Arawak Indians shipped to work in the mines of Hispaniola. Meanwhile, the eastern fringe of the Caribbean is also unattended by the Spanish. Apart from occasional raids in search of slaves, the British are the first to acquire valuable footholds in this region. They established settlements in St. Kitts, 1623, Barbados, 1627, and Antigua, Nevis, Montserrat by 1636. The French, hard on their heels, occupied part of St. Kitts, 1627, Dominica, 1632, and Martinique and Guadeloupe, 1635. Later in the 17th century, Spain loses 2 large sections of the Central Caribbean to her European enemies. An English fleet invades and captures Jamaica in 1655.
A fleet raided and captured Jamaica from the Spanish. Now they fighting over God's people again. This is what happened. This is history, man. This is history. This is history. We don't go into the enslavement of the Jamaicans or the Cubans or the Puerto Ricans or the Mexicans or the Haitians. You don't hear too much of that. You don't hear too much of that because you don't want anything to link up into who's God's people. You don't hear too much of that, man. This is why we're going into the history of what Christopher Columbus Day represents, man, because it was a springboard. It was a springboard to flood they're going to call it the New World. It was a springboard. And when they came to flood it, this is the things they brought with them, man. And this all been ordained by the Most High. We already know this. But we just bringing the history out so you would know the history. That's why we got to come out of these holidays, man. Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Christopher Columbus Day. We got to come out of this stuff, man. Halloween. All these things link up to people getting murdered. All these holidays link up to people getting murdered, man. Righteous people getting murdered. Them people ain't do nothing. Them people ain't do nothing for the people to come running down on them, man. All these holidays link up to. They make holidays, man. This society got holidays on bloodshed days of poor people, man. That's what it basically boils down to. Keep going. You get the other scripture again?
Alright.
Yeah.
Later. In 16,
hold on. Give me the scripture you got.
For thus Amos saith, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel...
You at 7 and what? 7 and 17.
Therefore thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of this land.
Letting you know all these things are doing. We were saying they had the ships with 1,500 men, no women. Read that scripture again.
Therefore thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city.
Your wife shall be a harlot in the city.